What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Self Started Podcast with your hosts, Alex and Mahim. What's up, Mahim?
What's up, Alex? It's good to talk to you today. We got a new setup for everyone. Thanks to everyone's feedback about our old setup. We've taken it to heart, and hopefully this new one works out and is a good solution moving forward.
Yeah. Going forward, we're trying to increase our video quality, so let us know what you guys think. So, with the holidays coming around, specifically Thanksgiving, we thought good topic for today would be on being thankful.
Yes, thankfulness. That is today's topic. And the reason we wanted to talk about this, well, one, be because it is Thanksgiving coming up, but also we feel like it is a topic that doesn't get as much love and appreciation as it should. No pun intended. So
Being thankful is underappreciated.
Yes. Yeah, put that on a t-shirt. So to start, let's talk about what is thankfulness. So Alex, what do we mean by thankfulness?
So when we talk about being thankful, we don't mean just like the large things that you have in your life, because it's easy to really appreciate. It's like, oh yeah, like I have this awesome new job offer, or I just graduated. Like, yeah, those things you really should be thankful for. But it's not just the big things, it's also the small things. Like in your daily life, like I'm thankful that you can have like a cup of coffee in the morning, or maybe your commute was pretty smooth this morning, something like that. It's basically appreciating the things around you and having a positive mindset.
Yeah, absolutely. And often these things are things that we tend to take for granted, whether that be, like Alex mentioned, or your family. Something simple as getting like a hello from your friend that you see during the semester, or even just knowing that your family's there and has your back. Those are the type of things we talk about when we mean being thankful. So Alex, why don't we practice gratitude enough?
So, really, I think in today's kind of world, we're always moving very, very fast. So, whether you are going through university or you've just entered the workforce, or maybe you have other kinds of obligations like a family and to provide for, we get caught up in the stresses of our daily lives. That could be related to the relationships, the work that we take on, or maybe the social pressures that can come from our friends or family or even ourselves. Can really make us feel like we're overwhelmed by the all the things that are around us, and can really give us this negative mindset and think that everything is really going poorly for us. Would you
Yeah, and
agree?
I think often it's easy to get into that tunnel vision where you don't see the little things that are around you that are positive, like you said. I know for me personally, having a lot of big goals tends to really require your focus to be solely on those goals and what you haven't achieved yet, rather than what you have achieved. And often I find myself not appreciating the things that have got me to this place, the spot that I'm in right now, enough, and really undervaluing that. Has there been any similar instances for you?
Yeah, definitely. A lot of times, I think we both come from the same type of perspective where we both are very highly ambitious people, and we're trying to achieve and execute on our goals. And oftentimes, like you said, it's tunnel vision where you kind of lose track of what's going on. And also, in addition, like, I think it's really that self imposed pressure where it's like, these are the goals that I set for myself, and this is what I expect of myself. And because of that, we can oftentimes forget all the good things that we have in our lives going on right now.
Yep, absolutely, absolutely. So yeah, like Alex said, some of the things that tend to get overlooked, whether it be health, family, having a job, certain relationships. The reason that it's important to be thankful about these things are come in a variety of different benefits. So one benefit is your mindset. Appreciating what you already have changes your paradigm from focusing on things you lack and changing that to things that you do have. So you're focusing more on the positive, and that overall puts you in a better mental health state and gives you a perspective that you might not have had when you're in that tunnel vision mode, like we mentioned before.
Definitely. Yeah, I think in terms of everything, your mindset is probably the most important asset that you have. Where if you have a negative mindset, that seeps into other aspects of your life. And by being positive, not only are you having better mental clarity and I guess a better viewpoint on your daily goals and daily tasks, but other people will recognize that, oh yeah, you're like a happy guy and you're enjoying life and you appreciate things, and people pick up on that you're like grateful for the things that are around you, for the things that people do for you, that you're overall like satisfied with the things that is going on, and this will seep into your work, your relationships with your friends and family, in addition with executing on any personal goals that you may have.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And well, that actually reminds me of a time where I really saw that lack of gratitude affect my relationships with other people. Specifically, when I was working at Jump Cut, I remember back around March of 2018, there was a time where I was basically trying to move departments from leading the customer support team to starting to become a writer. And during that time, my manager gave me a writing project, which basically would determine whether or not I was cut out for it. And unfortunately, I was very, while excited about the opportunity, I was very overwhelmed by the idea that if I don't do this well, I might get fired and I might have nowhere else to go. And this could really be it for me. So in that moment, it was really easy to just feel like really bogged down by your work. And it wasn't really until I talked to my friends and really opened up and talked through it and really had that conversation where you realize it's not the end of the world. You know, you have these people behind your back and they will be there through the thick and thin. And that's what really brought that appreciation out in me for having those relationships. And ultimately I was able to get out of that pit and secure a writing position, eventually move up and really have like a good career afterwards. But if I wasn't grateful for what I had, I don't think I would ever be able to have that perspective and really be able to overcome my own overwhelmed state of mind.
Yeah, definitely. I actually do kind of remember you speaking about that. I remember you're like, yeah, I might like be unemployed in the next month if I don't do this thing well, and you were like super stressed about it.
Yeah, dude, it was bad.
Yeah. And like that's an important thing to be mindful of. Like I know it's oftentimes really difficult to kind of take yourself out of the current situation that you're in and look at like an outside perspective, but when you speak to your friends or your family or the people that you could confide into, know that like they're there for you, and you have this support circle to make sure that you know things are going to be okay. And like oftentimes things will always work themselves out. It's never the end of the world, just like you said. It's this kind of self-imposed pressure that we put upon ourselves and really kind of puts us in this negative mindset.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's something that it's it's kind of easier said than done, because in the moment it really feels like, you know, it really does feel hopeless at times.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
That's why it's just so important to remember to be grateful for what you do have that perspective, have that positive mindset, because ultimately you're not doing yourself any favor by having a negative mindset towards whatever situation you're in. And ultimately a positive mindset is going to help you. It has a higher chance of resulting in a solution and getting you out of that position than having a negative mindset about it.
Oh yeah, I totally agree. You know, being negative, it's kind of like you're just being negative. You know, if you're not really progressing yourself forward, and you're not really you know, helping anyone else, doing anyone else a favor by like being like the negative person. And that's not to say that like you shouldn't work through your feelings and process how you're feeling about a certain topic. Um,
Hmm.
it's more of that, know that that things will be okay and that you can always fall back on others. But
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
that was pretty good. Um, I guess how let's get into how I guess you kind of practice being thankful and maybe some tips and tricks, I guess, for how other people can practice thankfulness in their daily lives.
So to start, I would say one thing you can do, and one thing that I found particularly effective, is journaling.
Hmm.
Whether that be on paper, on some writing software. For me, I like to use Evernote. That's been my that's been the home of my writing. It kind of acts as my second brain. If anyone has read my article on my top 5 tools that I use, that was one of the top tools that I highlighted, because
Hmm.
pretty much everything that goes on in my head, whether it be tasks, projects, ideas, but also in this context, my personal feelings and reflection thoughts, all of that goes in Evernote. And I found that for me, putting it out on paper really lessens your mental load, and it allows you to process things in a way where your mind can often get jumbled up and not properly processed through feelings and thoughts. So
Definitely.
I like to particularly do this when I'm now when I know I had like an off day, or I know that that feeling of overwhelmingness is particularly strong, and I actually have a specific Evernote notebook dedicated just for these type of thoughts. And for me, it's been very helpful.
Yeah.
Do you have anything similar?
Yeah, I do actually. So I for since I started university, I kept a journal, and for the time being, it was on paper, and I would write in it on occasion. Usually not when something like mundane or like the day to day was happening. It was more of when, oh yeah, like a big event happened, or something like made me really upset, or something really made me really happy. So I would record those kind of things. And journaling in itself is like a whole broad topic. But we're really trying to focus in on the reflection part of it, and being appreciative of the things that you have. And even more so now, since I've been kind of going on this journey after life after college and trying to figure out my life. I've been journaling actually on my phone alongside paper journaling, and just kind of acknowledging the good things around me and realizing that, you know, things are going okay. And there's, especially around the holiday time, tend to think about, you know, life is good and no one should tell you otherwise. And
Yep. Yeah.
we should try to live life knowing that things are pretty good. Yeah, there's also, I guess, another thing. Now, personally, I haven't really done this, but I know friends that have, where they practice meditation. So there's plenty of like apps and techniques on meditation. One meditation app that was recommended to me by a friend, it's called Headspace. So it's like these 10-minute videos that kind of give you like a voiceover guidance, to try to like center yourself. Um, and they have different topics, and really it's kind of practicing mindfulness and being more conscious of the things around you. And in that way, you can really appreciate what you have and the world that you live in. Uh,
Yeah. I've actually heard of Headspace, and I've heard of similar meditation techniques where you are
mhm.
focusing on things that you're appreciative of. I know that there's one particularly that one of my friends used to do called meta meditation, where you're basically saying things like, "Oh, I love X, Y, and Z. I love myself. I love my family. Blah blah blah."
Mm-hmm.
As you could tell, wasn't actually a big fan of it for myself. It just didn't work for me, and the same transformative way that it worked for him.
Mm-hmm.
But that's okay. You really gotta. It's not really about what tool you use. It's about what works for you, and ultimately whether meditation works or reflection works. Ultimately, it's up to you to find what works.
Yeah, definitely. Like every person is different. What works for like Mahim and me doesn't necessarily translate to how you feel, and the end goal is really to just feel a certain type of way and be positive about life. Yeah. So I guess any other ways that you practice mindfulness, Mahim?
Yeah, so I think this one's a little bit more unplanned or indirect. So I noticed that I tend to get thankful and appreciative when I'm hanging out with a friend or a group of friends that I haven't seen for a while. So an easy example of this is when I'm talking to Alex in person in New York after not seeing him for like months at a time. That's when you really appreciate that friendship that you have and that bond that has developed over the years. And I'm particularly touched when I know that I have friends that I've not seen for a long time, and even though I live on the complete opposite side of the country, they'll still make time for me, and we'll still have that connection that's not based on whether or not we're physically next to each other, but just strong nonetheless. So people like Alex, some of my buddies from NYU, like it's that those are the moments where you really feel like, man, these people have my back, and that it feels good. It feels good.
I'm touched. Yeah, I completely agree with you. Like reminiscing with friends about like the past, and even reminiscing about like I guess just any like thinking back about how far you've come and what you've accomplished and what you will accomplish and what you're working towards. Like those are the kind of things that kind of like excite me and kind of bring this like nostalgic feel of yeah, like those things happened and they were like good times.
Yeah, I mean, for anyone who doesn't know, I mean, Alex and I have been friends for like 10 years at this point.
It's really been that long? Damn.
It's been, yeah. I think I remember seeing him for the first time in like when I moved to our town in Long Island.
Gym class.
For the first time. Yeah, I think gym class with Mr. Marlowe.
Mr. Marlowe.
I do remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that was that was the first time.
The start of an era.
Start of an era.
Pretty cool.
So yeah. Yeah, very cool. Again, it goes back to that whole thing about perspective, you know. Just it's like we mentioned before, it's easy to forget those things that you really do appreciate in the moment when you're in that hustle grind mode and everything feels like it's just coming at you at once.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. All right. Now, I guess we've talked a lot about being thankful, how to be thankful, and like what is thankfulness. But now I want to take it to like a more personal note. So Mahim, and I'm gonna do this too. Like for I guess the year of 2019, since the holiday season also means like 2019's ending, and you can look back on the year. So what would you say like the top three things that happened to you this year? It could be anything. Maybe it might not even be this year, but like what are you most thankful for, and I guess why?
Well, for this year, I think, in no particular order, I think one of them definitely has to be my girlfriend. She's been very supportive of me and been a very good companion for the last 7 months and like even more that we've known each other. And it does give you a lot of appreciation for not only the relationship, but also what you're doing professionally, and like like I just feel much more confident in myself and more appreciative of what I'm doing, and I feel like I have that support structure. So that's something that it's been really good in 2019. Other than that, I definitely would have to say friends like Alex, Shad, one of our other friends, people like I've mentioned before that have stuck around in my life, even though I'm not physically with them on a day-to-day basis. That one's been transcending ever since I moved to LA, and ever since I dropped out of school where I wasn't seeing these people on a day-to-day basis. It's really quite admirable, and I really do appreciate that they've stuck by my side throughout these years. The third thing would be, yeah, I kind of had those two.
It doesn't have to be big. It like, you know, I'll say something and then you can think it over on the third.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So, kind of like you, I'm definitely really appreciative of the friends that I have, especially you, Mahim. I definitely have been like going through a lot of life transition, through graduating, going through a new job, starting self-started, and it's even though it's been maybe like a month or two, it's been a journey, and we're still going through this journey, and it's really cool to experience this and kind of be working with you on this. In addition to like being my friend, you're always there like if I'm ever feeling down, and not just you, like all my friends. They're people that I can rely on, that I can confide in, and they're people that I know that care about me, and I really do appreciate them. And if you guys are watching, I appreciate you. I guess number two, it wouldn't be actually in the year of 2019, but I really appreciate my study abroad experience. So for those that don't know, during my fall semester of senior year, I studied abroad in Hong Kong, and during that time, I made a lot of great friends. I met a lot of new people. I traveled to a lot of new places, and I gained a lot of perspective on what it means to be like a person that lives basically on Earth, and kind of appreciating other people's cultures, languages, foods, and interactions and ways of life. So, because of that experience, I felt like it opened a lot of doors, and kind of opened my eyes to really what is available to me and what I've yet to see and what I can appreciate back at home. So, living in Asia for 6 months, I really do appreciate America having like I appreciate that people speak English. Like that's something as small as that. Like someone that speaks my tongue, and I appreciate that we as a people like we have like a lot of freedoms that a lot of countries might not have, and the fact that we can kind of do the things that we want to and pursue the things that we want to is as kind of like small, and you might forget it. It's like a big deal because people don't exactly have these freedoms around the world. In addition, kind of like appreciating the ways of life that we have, that we can like we have a roof over our head, and we have like we can go and get food, and we can drive places, and we can enjoy all these extra commodities that a lot of people don't get to. So that in itself really opened my eyes to being more grateful for the things that I have in my life currently. And yeah, I guess I'll throw it back to you before I talk about my number three. So,
all right,
what you got?
That was some good stalling. Okay, so my third one would have to be it would have to be my physical health, and specifically, I think one thing I've learned over the last couple of years is that you can't eat the way you used to eat as a kid, and get away with it. Like you really do have to take care of yourself.
You're telling me I
and-
can't have pizza and chicken nuggets every night?
No, Alex, you can't. I'm putting the foot down. Yeah, so you can't get away with eating that stuff, and you really do have to be mindful of what you eat. And for me, I like appreciate that my body is not at a state where I'm just like, what's the word? Like aloof and like just completely unmotivated. I feel like my body can keep up with the cognitive demands that I have and the ambitions that I have, and I can only imagine what it would be like to have any sort of physical ailment that prevents me from pursuing the things I want, and being able to even something as simple as like being able to just walk, like that. It's pretty like it's pretty unfathomable how different life might have been if you didn't have something that simple. And so that's definitely something that I've come to appreciate in 2019.
Definitely. People always say like I'm grateful for my health, and like not people don't just say that because they mean to say that. They like your health is important. It allows you to like be alive and enjoy life, and that's definitely something that shouldn't be taken for granted. Kind of similar, not exactly the same. I guess another thing that I've been thinking of recent is I'm appreciative of how like my youth, like I'm turning 23 soon, and I had this conversation with some friends over dinner the other night where they're like turning like 25, and they're closer to 30 than they are to 20, and that's bizarre. And they feel old, and like I feel old. Like I see college students, I'm like, yeah, like I was once a young college student back in my day. But it's really putting stuff into perspective and thinking like, yeah, I am young. I'm 23. I probably have like, by the way technology's going, I probably have another like 70 to 80 years to live on. And like
Hell yeah.
our lives have just begun, and we have all this opportunity and resources that allow us to pursue the things that we want. And like given enough time and effort and putting in the work, I think you can achieve anything that you want. And even if you're like 30, even if you're 40, you're 50 or 60, right? Like you have so much time to do the things that you want to do. And just putting into my own perspective, like I have so much time to do the things I want to do. I don't need to rush to get things done because like things take time, and that's just the way it is. Rome wasn't built in a day, and all the idioms and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's knowing that even though you're getting older and it's kind of like you feel old, you still have so much time to work with, and you have so much potential, and things are always changing, and you can always like put your best foot forward and go through life and make the best of it. So yeah, that's my number 3.
Oh yeah.
Hashtag Gary V. If you guys you should check him out if you're into like motivational speaking and stuff like that. Gary V's a great resource.
Great guy. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, do you have any other closing thoughts, Mahi?
I really hope everyone who's watching this, and if you made it this far, I hope you have an appreciative Thanksgiving this year, and I hope that your thankfulness doesn't just stop at Thanksgiving. It continues throughout the year, regardless of what time, regardless of what stage of your life you're at.
Yes, definitely from the team at Self Started. Happy Thanksgiving, happy holidays. Show some love to the people around you and the things that you have, and really be appreciative, and you know, maybe go hug your family member, go hug a friend, go
Yeah.
hug your dog.
Yeah, maybe hug the like button, maybe hug the subscribe button, maybe hug a comment below.
Show some self-started love. But anyway, that's all we have for today. Thanks for tuning in, and thanks for watching.
All right. Take care, guys.
Peace.